Good evening. Today is the 26th of May and it's time for another very vague vlog. I'm in the Astra again today. It's quite late on in the day, it's about 8:10, which explains the interesting lighting conditions. I've got the windows open for the first bit of this journey. I'll be using the air conditioning and the blower a little bit later on, so we'll have different sounds. This evening I want to talk about a couple of things, first of which is the article that I saw on the internet the other day, which said that the government might choose to actually take away this 6-month MOT exemption quite soon, and so that everybody who at the moment has just, I don't know, not bothered to get their car MOT because they've been given an exemption, will have to go and get that done anyway. And secondly, we're going to be talking about no budget reviews. So first of all, just want to say that I'm on my way to my mother's house. She has a medical procedure tomorrow morning and I'm going to be taking her there early in the morning. I don't know what the traffic's going to be like tomorrow, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and stay at her house overnight. Ooh, that's a very interesting moody effect of the sunset there. I'm going to be staying at her house overnight, and then I'll be taking her in the morning. I'm only staying there because I'm providing care for her for 24 hours. I presume she could get someone else in outside the family to look after her for 24 hours after the operation, but it's probably best if I'm available that I do that. I'll be trying to socially distance from her as much as I can, but you know, it's only you know, an amount of that I can do if I'm actually staying there. The house is quite big, so that should be okay. So you might be seeing some videos that are recorded in her car, which would be interesting, I suppose, for some of you. I haven't done one of those in her car for a while. So what about this this exemption for the MOTs for 6 months that's been happening and the possible results of that ending? Well, first thing to say is that the AA and other breakdown organisations have seen a huge rise in the number of cars that have failed to start. That appears to be the most common cause of, you know, having had lockdown, people not using their cars. It appears to have had the consequence of everyone having flat batteries, which of course if you don't use your car, that's what happens. I remember Mercedes, when I tried to start it after I think it was 7 weeks of not actually having been driven, that also had a very weak battery on it. Right, time for motorway acceleration. Let's use the sport button today. Why not? There we go, sport. See if this makes any difference whatsoever. Whoa! Wow. Still not at the speed limit though. There we go. That was fun. Let's put the blower on so I can have a bit of cool. There we go. So yeah, you know, things like rusty brake discs, they'll be pretty common, but you know, things people will just put off because they haven't needed to go for the MOT, and suddenly they do. That might be something. To be honest, I don't know what else to say other than that it's difficult to say how much of a problem that's going to be if they suddenly decide that, you know, we've all got to get our MOTs done within the next week. Yeah, so interested to hear your comments and thoughts about that. It could be a huge problem now that everyone's not thinking about it. It could not be. suppose if it is safe for you to do so, you could just preemptively, if you've got the time, take your car for one. If it's safe to do so. That's really my thoughts about it. The other thing that we'll be discussing is no budget reviews. No budget reviews started in November last year because we'd worked out, my lady wife and I, that we'd really been spending rather a lot on the channel, and at that stage I wasn't getting paid anything at all for it. So, and actually, because of the way YouTube ad revenue works, you have to wait for a code to be sent in the post before you can actually start making any money. And I haven't sent my code yet. I've asked for it a couple of times and it hasn't turned up, so I still haven't got anything from YouTube at all. And just so you know, a lot of people who do reviews of old films and things will say this. A lot of my videos from cars and television film are demonetised because the people who own the copyright of the film have decided that whether or not you agreed it's fair use for you to do so, and it is fair use for me to use copyrighted material that I do use, talk about it in reviews and analysis. But they decided that I'm not allowed to make money on that at all. Sometimes they're actually completely blocked the material, like the BBC from Life on Mars. I was not allowed to use the Life on Mars type of sequence at all. It was just totally blocked. Ashes to Ashes, for some reason, made by the same company, Cudis Film and Television, and obviously shown on the BBC. I was able to use that, but not Life on Mars. It was totally blocked, so I had to remove it using the YouTube editor, which was a bit clumsy, but it worked. So, there you go. So, yeah, at some point that code will arrive, and then I'll be able to just receive a little bit of income. It honestly is not much. It will help. And I'm very grateful for everyone watching the videos, particularly those of you who watch to the end and interact, like liking videos and commenting on them and everything like that. That really helps. Much time as possible and everything. It helps videos to rank higher in YouTube. So you don't have to do any of that. But obviously anybody, and I'm not just talking about me, anybody who has a channel will ask you to do those things a lot of the time because it just does help the visibility of the videos a bit. So no budget reviews started as a way to save money. They are all recorded on this phone that I'm using to do this vlog, and I might actually get a microphone to do it at some point, but that's the only investment I'll be making because no budget reviews is about cars that you can buy a good example of for under £1,000 and hopefully run them on quite a low budget. And so far people seem to like that. It's done on a very basic sort of editing structure that I've had to just learn myself. I've got a few tips that I've been given by Mr. Ben Quirt from Planet Auto, who very kindly lent me the software that he used to use, which runs well on my laptop. I've tried a newer editor, which is what I use for the Cars of the Avengers Part 2, but that really ate up all the processing power. It took me 4 attempts to actually render that, so I tend to use the older one because it works a bit better on my laptop, which is fine. So it's a car that you can buy for less than £1,000 in good condition. It doesn't have to be necessarily the example that you see before you. And I know that one no budget reviews episode I've got coming up later on this year will definitely not be a car that you can buy for £1,000, although many examples of that car you can buy for £1,000. And that's really it. It can be any type of car that you can buy, a good example of one for less than £1,000. That's really it. It has to have an MOT, of course, and that's the only stipulation. At the moment, because of the laws governing social distancing and travel in particular, I'm unable to stay overnight to go and record an episode of No Budget Reviews. I'm not able to do that. So I'd have to be restricted if I wanted to restart doing No Budget Reviews, which I really do actually now, to places I can get to in, say, like an hour or so of where I live in Eastleigh. So if you would like to provide a car for No Budget Reviews, then please send me an email at japl745@hotmail.com, and just tell me where you are and what sort of car you have, and I'd be very happy to film it. So far I've done Suzuki Jimny, MG ZTT, Jaguar X-Type, and also of course my old Rover 216. So there we go, that's most of it. Please get in touch if you wish me to review your car on no budget reviews. I'd love to do that, particularly if you're in this sort of area. That'd be wonderful. And those of you who live a bit further away, I do have a couple already planned for when I can go and stay somewhere again, that I will actually be filming once we have these regulations lifted. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like this video, to leave a comment below. If which was to source a car for you, go to my website. It's www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. I am back and doing that at the moment as well. And also I've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.